The work here in ADRI is focusing on mesothelioma. The funding of the Biaggio Signorelli Foundation has been an enormous opportunity for ADRI to accelerate progress in research. And it has also meant a connection with the society and with victims and the family of victims of asbestos-related disease.
One of the most difficult questions that we get asked by our patients in the clinic is, how long will I live for? Or will this treatment work on me? And that's really the essence on what we're trying to do. Already we've had some success in using the tissue microarray technology and these retrospective samples to identify a number of biological targets that enable us to see whether someone would live a very long time or a very short time.
We are very grateful to have the opportunity to do this big work. It is a full Australian enterprise involving more than 35 specialists. And we are currently in the process of drafting the final text, and hopefully by the end of this year the first draft of the guidelines goes for public consultation.
As a clinician, the work that I'm doing for the Biaggio Signorelli Foundation is very much mixed between laboratory-based research and clinical-based research. And the overarching topic is looking for prognostic factors in malignant pleural mesothelioma. Malignant pleural mesothelioma is a disease that typically has a prognosis of 9 to 12 months, but we know just as there are patients who may only live for 1 or 2 or 3 months, there is also about 20% of patients who may live over 2 years. And it's trying to identify which patients they are that is the real importance of our research.
We know that the diagnosis mesothelioma is difficult, and sometimes it is a laborious process of several weeks. And we are trying to curtail the length of that process and make it more efficient, and also make sure that in every place and every hospital a uniform process of diagnosis is being practiced in all over Australia in every hospital.
The biggest challenge that I see in the fight against mesothelioma is medical and political complacency. People view asbestos-related diseases, including mesothelioma, as very much yesterday's news. They think that because asbestos was banned all those years ago, that it's not a problem anymore. Within Australia, most of the houses that we live in, the workplaces that we work in, are all filled with asbestos buildings. And because of construction and because of home renovations, we will still see that there is going to be an incidence of mesothelioma that will persist in 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. And that's why it's so important that we improve our ability to both diagnose this disease, but also to treat it.
If we are looking into prevention, there is an enormous challenge in trying to prevent future cases. We know that a treatment is very, very difficult. There is a new marker in the blood discovered by the ADRI researcher, and that new marker will hopefully allow us in the future to make a correct diagnosis, and maybe also to make an earlier diagnosis.
So currently we're looking at DNA and RNA markers, as well as protein markers that will help us to identify individual variations in people's tumours that make them more or less likely to get aggressive disease, or alternatively make them more sensitive to specific therapies. While the Biaggio Signorelli Foundation has been extremely supportive in funding our research currently, additional funding is really going to help us to sequence an individual person's genome. And the beauty behind this is that it's going to allow us to screen for specific mutations or individual variations in patients that may predispose them to mesothelioma, or alternatively may sensitise them to specific therapies. So if unlimited funding was an option, next generation sequencing would definitely be the way that we want to go, because that is the era of the $1,000 genome.